Welcome everyone to the second episode of Tea Time with Meg. Grab your tea, grab a comfy spot, take a sip, and settle in. So, today we're going to be talking about your favorite books, your comforts when you read those, an old favorite, a brand new obsession with a book that you've listened to maybe 1,000 times already, and just overall, you. So, to share a quick story, I find that the two books I'm sharing with you today have gotten me thinking, and one of them even kind of saved me a little. It gave me a world to escape to. So, the two books I'm talking about today are Harry Potter and the Fourth Wing series. I have them both here, actually. So, this is the second book of the Fourth Wing series, Iron Flame. I've read through all three of these 2 times now, and I just recently started it again. And then, of course, we have Harry Potter. Those books will always be so comforting to me. Well, Fourth Wing series is a little more intense, not as, comforting as Harry Potter. But those books are still important to me. Fourth Wing series gets me thinking, gets me feeling adventurous, and just overall excited about fantasy. I think it's fun. I'm a D&D person, so I'm building a D&D campaign in my head throughout these, this would be a great campaign. Harry Potter gets me comforted and lets me escape into a world where I can not worry about my own for a while. And that's a great thing. It's exciting when you find a book such as Harry Potter or the Fourth Wing series where you can escape into those worlds. When I'm reading or listening to these, whether it's through the physical book or through Audible, I can escape. They describe things so well, and it's amazing. I started reading Harry Potter when they first came out. My mom and I would go to the midnight releases at Barnes & Noble and get the book, and in 2 days we'd have the book fully read. It was awesome. And sometimes even less than that, we might read it in one night. As the books got longer, we didn't do that, but that's okay. Fourth Wing series, I started reading it when not even when it came out. It was long after it came out, and it took me a while. I'm gonna be honest. I was busy with life, and I was just so caught up into everything else besides taking care of myself. So I finally decided to start listening to the audiobook, which for me, I could listen to that anywhere. I didn't have to carry around a book. I didn't have to do that stuff to read. I could just put my headphones on and listen. I would listen at work. I would listen in the car. I would listen at home. I listened everywhere, and I got caught into it, and I said, holy moly, this is crazy. And there was so much happening all at one time, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but please read this book. And if you haven't read Harry Potter, read that one too. Both are such great series, and they're so fun, and yeah, magical. Fourth Wing series is not as magical, obviously, but there are magical aspects to it because you could bond with a dragon. Woohoo, that's awesome. That'd be cool, as long as you don't get torched. Anyway, the point is this is why I love these books, and this is why I'm going to be talking about them today. So, keep that in mind as we go along. And if you haven't read them, again, please read them. So, discussing Harry Potter. As I said, this series kind of saved me. I went through some really hard times throughout my life. Who hasn't? I'm going to be honest. And I loved getting entrenched into the characters and into, even the movies. It was so magical to see those books come alive. But I will always resort to the book. In this case, the books are better because it gives you so much more detail, and I'm very excited about that. Oh, A quick side note, I'm very excited for the new Harry Potter series coming out on HBO Max this Christmas, because that is going to include a lot of the details from the books that we didn't get originally. So, stay tuned for that, because I'm probably going to do a review on that. And the Fourth Wing series coming out on Amazon Prime. So, keep your ears peeled for those podcasts coming out later this year. So, as I was saying, it's a series that I can return to over and over and over. I've probably read these series through 5 times, and now my mom and I are starting again because our goal is to read through all 7 books before the release of the new series on HBO Max this Christmas. We want to do comparatives. We love those comparatives where we're like, this is what they did in the book, but this is what they're doing in the movie or now the show. We read through book 1, we watched the first movie. Now we're reading through book 2, and then we're gonna watch the movie and be like, wait, they did this and this. Why is it so different? Why didn't they add that detail, as small as a detail it might be? So I keep processing everything that I'm reading in those books, and it's like, to live in a world that has magic would be amazing. It could be dangerous too, as we find out a lot of times within those books. It can be dangerous. Spell goes wrong, you could end up something else. You could kill somebody. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Magic can be dangerous, but it's so, you don't want to think about the dangerous side of things when you think of magic. You want to think of happy and just overall peace when it comes to magic. Magic fixes everything, right? Not always. That's kind of the take that I get from it, but I take the happy side. I take that side of, this is so magical, this is so relaxing, this is what I would love to do. I'd love to have a magic wand to fix everything in this world. Fix me, fix a home, help somebody. That's what I think of. And that was a little bit of a tangent. But I could pick that book up and reread it. Every time I reread it, it feels like I'm coming home to an old friend. And I think that it is important to have a book or have a show that can do that. And we'll get into movies and TV shows in a different podcast. One of them might be coming up sooner than you think. So that is my tidbit on Harry Potter. Harry Potter has always been one of those, I could just hug the book and it feels like it's hugging me back, which I think is cool, that even though it's a book, it feels like you're being, again, welcomed by an old friend. You feel like you're going into a different reality where you can relax and take a deep breath and not feel the pressures of the world for just the smallest amount of time. Life gets in the way, but books will always be there for you. People who bond over books, it's so important to have people to talk to about it. In this case, it's my mom. My mom and I have always had a strong connection over reading the Harry Potter books, and it's amazing. It's something we could talk about, and we never argue about what's going on in the book. We're like, man, can you believe this happened? Can you believe that happened here instead of here? It's so cool to be able to bond with her about that. And I've always been really close to my mom, and this just makes us even closer. So, I will leave that for you to chew on and think about a little bit. Now I'm going to talk about Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing was one of those books where I was like, man, it's probably going to just be like every other fantasy book about dragons. Slow, boring, and just overall not going to be what I think it is. I was completely wrong. Let me tell you, I was completely wrong about these books. I started reading, and again, I'm not going to give spoilers in case you have not read it, but you should. So, I love dragons. I've always been a dragon girl. I don't know why, but I have. And it's awesome to read this book and feel like you're riding on that dragon's back. So, I was immediately hooked. Even though at first, when I first started reading the physical version, even though this is the second book, you get my point, it did say fourth wing on the front, I was entrenched when I started listening to the audiobook. And let me tell you why. The person reading that audiobook did such an amazing job. I felt like I was right there in the book. I felt as though I was right next to Violet Sorrengail. I felt like I was right on top of Taryn's back, flying through the sky, feeling the pain that she felt when something happened, or hearing that, she's just as fragile boned as I am. You step wrong and you twist an ankle. I am a klutz. We'll just admit it now. But she persevered. She was strong. And I loved that. So, this book was just, like I said, it just entrenched me right from the beginning. And that was amazing to me. Just like Harry Potter, I could jump right into it. Which, for me, is hard, because I love a lot of books, and I will read them, but sometimes they can be pretty dry. And having a dry book is not fun. So, I think that no matter what, find a book that you love, and even if you read it 1,500 times, you're still gonna feel that magic time and time again. You're still gonna feel like you're entrenched into that storyline yourself, and not just sitting there going, yep, this happened, yep, this happened. I'm sitting there going, what is gonna happen next? This is awesome. I was at work listening one day. I do data entry for a company. And, I was sitting there, I was like, yes, this is amazing. As I'm sitting there typing along, like getting more and more intense with my typing because I was getting very excited about the book. It's fun. It's fun to listen to. She does an amazing job narrating it. And I have listened to it fully through all 3 books twice now. And I just started again in between reading the second Harry Potter book. My mom and I are trying to read so many chapters of that, so I take breaks in between, and I go straight to fourth wing every time. It's very exciting. My first impressions, like I said, they were just, when I first started reading, reading that physical book, I was struggling to, I don't know if the right word would be keep up, but we'll go with that for now. I was struggling, like I said, to keep up, and I put it down. I did. I'm going to be honest. I put that book down. But then as soon as I started to listen to it, I think a different part of my brain was like, ooh, we can keep up now. So, do what you have to do to listen to or to read a book, whether that's having the physical book and reading it. I'm a physical book person, trust me. Even if you have to do both, physical book and audiobook, and listening to it at the same time as you read it, do it. It's worth it. That book is so worth it. Don't stop within the first few sentences. Get to the second chapter and you'll see it does pick up. But it's just kind of introducing a little bit in the beginning, so I think that's why I was struggling a little bit. But an amazing book, and it has become my newest obsession. I cannot wait for the Fourth Wing series to come out on Amazon Prime. I think it's within the next 1.5 years, 2 years. I could be wrong. I think it might be 1.5 years. But watch out for that podcast as well, because I will cover it. I will watch it. I will cover it, just like the Harry Potter series. So, I'm excited for that. Now, when you read a book, we're in a transitional lull here. When you're reading a book, what are your comforts? Do you have a blanket? Do you sit in a big comfy chair like I'm sitting in now? Do you lay on a couch? Do you lay in a bed? Where do you go? Do you light candles? Do you only read on a rainy afternoon? Or to a sound machine that has like rain or thunder, or just white noise. How do you become comfortable when you're reading? Excuse me, I thought I was going to sneeze. Don't mind me. What rituals do you use? Having a space to be comfortable in is half the magic of reading alone. I know I said that I use Audible to listen to my books. Some of them, not all of them. Do you have a favorite pair of headphones? Do you listen anywhere? Do you not have a comfy space? Because if you don't, that is okay. It's okay not to have a comfy space, because you might not have one. You might not need one. I have a little of both. I have my bed upstairs is up against the wall in a corner, so I will stack my body pillow and my other pillows up against the corner, and I will lay there, and I will sitting up, lay there, and I will read or listen and cuddle with a blankie, my dog, and it's fun. I enjoy it. That's my comfy spots. I have little the twinkly brand lights around me, and I use those to kind of create just a mood, like a lighter mood. I don't have any big lights on to read. I use a little clip-on reading light, or even just the light from my twinkly lights. I'm a purple girl, so I usually have them on purple or white, because depending on what I'm doing is whether I need a little more light. But I don't ever turn my big lamp light on, because it's just too bright, and then I get distracted. So having just that little bit of light, that calm, and I love to read on a rainy day, because you hear the sound of the rain trickling against the roof. You got your lights on, you've got your cup of tea, speaking of, and you just take time for you. I want to hear from you all on what your favorite reading spots, your comforts are, your favorite books are right now. And give me those recommendations. But I want to hear from you. Send in a picture. Send in just a paragraph about what your reading comforts are, what your cozy reading corners look like, what books you're reading, what your thoughts are on them. But tell me. I want to hear from you. It's okay to not have everything perfect for a reading nook, or have a super elaborate area for it, or a super elaborate blanket that you use, or you don't have to have anything crazy. As long as you take time for you, that's what the most important thing is taking that time to escape into that world of that book. And that's okay. Be yourself. Take the time to be in that reading corner and cuddle up with that blanket, or your pet, or your parent, or your siblings, or your friends, and read. I read from a very young age with my family, and it has taught me to appreciate the words in life. I may not be good at talking them, but I can read them pretty well. I think that no matter who you are, being able to have that little bit of escape into another world, as I've mentioned so many times throughout this podcast, make sure that you take the time for yourself. You'll never get through your day-to-day if you don't have a thing to escape with, whether that's reading, or shows, or movies, or crafts, or whatever. Take the time for yourself and be who you want to be. Don't let others persuade you. Sure, take their book recommendations. I'm not saying that. Take their craft recommendations, movie, shows, whatever. But be yourself. Take time for yourself. And have that warm drink. Oh, speaking of warm drinks, what is your go-to drink for when you're reading a book? I obviously like tea. I also really love Diet Vernors, zero sugar Diet Vernors. There's a Michigan drink. I am from Michigan. That is kind of our specialty drink. What is your favorite? Tell me that too. So, to move on a little bit, so I don't sound like a broken record every single podcast, to compare the two books, Harry Potter and the Fourth Wing series, all the way through both, I'd have to say they definitely are both magical, because in Harry Potter they are obviously using magic, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, magic. Fourth Wing, you can do small minor magic, as well as you get to bond with a dragon, ride a dragon. That's magical on its own, because you can't ride a dragon if they don't bond to you, and you can't bond to them unless there's no magic, and you can't do rune magic or any of those other things without magic. There's adventure. They both have adventure, but they are different in their own ways. Yeah, there's dragons in Harry Potter. Yeah, there's magic in Fourth Wing, but they're used in such different ways. And they also take place in different times. So, I think having similar, obviously Fourth Wing is a little more violent than Harry Potter. Harry Potter has its moments of violence, obviously, as you get along in the series. But you don't, how do I put this? You don't use the magic in the same way, and you don't have the same, it doesn't feel the same. It's different in other ways, but it has similar themes. So I think that's what drew me to the Fourth Wing series, because I was like, ooh, this is different. I like different. So that's just a comparative. Finally, and in closing today, I want to thank you for coming and listening to the podcast. And I'm sure you're wondering, hey, you're on camera this time. We can actually see you. Good. I'm glad you can see me. I'm stepping more out of my comfort zone and doing a video podcast for this episode. But I want to hear from you. I want you to tell me what you like better. Do you like just hearing my voice, or do you like seeing me on video as well? I'm fine with doing it either way. I prefer voice, but that's just because that's in my comfort zone. I'm better with just sharing my voice than my whole self. But I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you like the video? Do you not? Do you have a comment? Please let me know. There will be a poll on YouTube, so please make sure you answer that poll. I will also reach out to people individually who I know watch, and I want to get your opinion as well. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me as I step out of my comfort zone yet again. And I cannot wait to share the next episode with you. Until next time, keep the kettle warm and your heart cozy. Have a great day. And don't forget, have a sip of tea.